Hey guys, this is Tech1G here, back with a new episode. In this episode, we're gonna be answering the one prime question that's on most people's minds for a couple of months now, since it was released. It's should I buy a Core i9 laptop, right? And the answer is, well, we're gonna get into that after explaining a few things. Now, the two things that you need to consider, I've researched about it, right? Before you just know the Core i9, it's the latest processor that Intel has come up with, right? It's great. It's a great processor, right? It's great. VR is great. Gaming is great. Video rendering is great. Obviously it comes if you had to buy a Core i9, it's always paired with some graphics card, whether it's AMD or it's Nvidia. It's pretty great. It's a pretty great processor, and there's nothing to dispute that it's the absolute best in the market right now. But the two things that you need to consider, that you should consider when actually trying to buy a Core i9 is one, there's a lot of thermal throttling in a lot of Core i9 PCs, right? A lot of Core i9 laptops. Now, okay, first question you're gonna be, okay, what's thermal throttling? Thermal throttling is basically when the CPU overheats, right? Heats clock speed, then it basically what it does is it lowers the performance, right, so that it cools, right? That's basically what thermal throttling is. It's when the CPU gets too hot, right? Then decides, let me decrease the performance so that it cools, right? So in the end, what thermal throttling does is it doesn't really give you the full power and the performance that you were supposed to originally get, right? Because once it gets to a certain stage, it gets too hot. It realizes that now I'm getting too hot, then it decides to increase the performance, right? So that's one. So thermal throttling, to a certain extent, I don't think it's a really great. It's big. It's not really a great issue. I mean, of course, I mean, unless if you're doing pretty intense um core demanding things like Adobe Premiere, Adobe Illustrator, stuff like that that needs a high core count and you need a lot of performance to render those videos, to do what you do. It's not really a problem, but it's pretty sad that a lot of manufacturers can't cool it properly. So recently, there's been a lot of problems with the let's say I'll give an example actually. So Apple, right, decided to update their MacBook, the whole lineup, right, basically for 2018, which is what a lot of people wait for. So they decided to bring in the Core i9, which is pretty good. Like finally, they're finally updating their PCs. I mean, which is pretty good. But the one problem, especially with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, I was watching a video by Dave 2D yesterday, is there's a high thermal throttling. I mean, if you were to see this video, you can see that even the render counts, right, for the Core i9 are even greater as compared to the Core i7. I mean, it's pretty crazy. That's not supposed to happen, right? The Core i9 is supposed to be faster generally, but because a lot of thermal throttling, manufacturers can't cool it properly. There's a problem. There stands a problem because once you buy it, you can never actually see the full strength and performance and the power actually that the Core i9 has, right? That's one. Two, this one is really not a factor, but the money actually, it's you're gonna pay a pretty penny to buy the Core i9. I mean, basically, if you're buying the desktop version, it's even more expensive than the Skylake, right? The base one, which is about 10 cores, 20 threads. That's about $999, which is basically 1,000, right? It's pretty expensive. But if you go down to the more mobile PC type of setup, we get into about $540, right? Which is not too much, but considering how much you need to cool it and everything, it might be more expensive than you think, right? But the one major take home from this, right? The money really doesn't matter. If you have money and you wanna buy it, you into it, you love it, go for it, right? But I would advise that you go for a desktop for now. If you have the money, right? Go for a desktop for now. PCs, it would be really great to see such a processor. Basically, that's the coffee lake, right? For PCs, for laptops, you get 6 cores, 12 threads, which is pretty great. 2.9 gigahertz base speed, which is pretty fast. But the problem is thermal throttling. You can never truly experience the Core i9 on a laptop because it's not properly cooled. And if anything, manufacturers should find a fast way of solving this. Otherwise, a lot of people are gonna miss out and they're gonna waste on Core i9. I mean, they're pretty good options right there. I mean, basically the whole 8th gen series, even the Core i5, the Core i7, the Intel really put effort last year and this year to really improve the processor. Like if you were to take a benchmark of even the Core i5 or the Core i7, compare them the 7th and 8th gen, you see that the 8th gen has been bumped up. You can do VR, even if it's the Core i5 and you don't even have a dedicated graphics card, you can still do VR, which is pretty great. And those are other options you should be looking at if you don't have a lot of money, but you're looking for performance. The Core i7 is it's still a great option. You should probably get it if you don't have the money to buy the Core i9 and you don't want a lot of thermal throttling, because the Core i7 is basically more ultrabooks are more, if you're an ultrabook kind of person, they are more suited to cool that kind of a processor, right? So yeah, I guess those are the two things you should consider when buying the Core i9. I mean, the biggest problem, the biggest red that's buzzing really is thermal throttling. Come on, manufacturers, we have to do something about this. You have to cool it properly so that people get their money's worth. Thank you guys for watching this video. Put a thumbs up if you liked it and put a sub, please guys. See you in the next video.